years you've told yourself that you want to make YouTube videos, but your upload schedule doesn't reflect that. You keep saying you don't have any video ideas, so let me give you one. In front of you is Saw and Saw 2 Flesh and Blood for the PlayStation 3. You love the Saw movies, and you love video games, so why haven't you made videos on these yet?
I was planning it already.
Don't interrupt me. You have until Halloween to complete these games and make a mediocre video about them. Or else, the poison I injected into your system will end your YouTube career forever. Play these games or die. The choice is yours.
Not again. Well, it's that time once again. I'm actually making another video. And the only reason this is happening, other than the murderous puppet, is the fact that I was chosen to be one of the lucky few people to get a job these days. So now I can actually afford to buy the games that I want to cover. With that being said, why are these games so damn expensive? I spent way too much money just to own the discs. No case, no manual, just the discs. Anyway, the Saw movies, am I right? People love them, most people hate them, and now will never speak to me again for talking about them. Oh well. The Saw movies started releasing all the way back 21 years ago in 2004, and for the next 6 years, people were blessed with one of these movies in theaters every year, with 3 more coming out casually until 2023, when we received our latest outing, Saw X. But this isn't about the movies, although I would gladly talk about the cheesy soap opera of a plot these movies have for hours and hours. But not today. Today we are talking about the 2 video games that were released alongside the 6th and 7th movies in 2009 and 2010. Now I bet you're thinking to yourself, there were Saw video games? That's exactly what I thought when I found out about them a few years ago, but I've never taken the time to actually play them until now. The only thing I've ever heard about them is the fact that they are very hit or miss for most Saw fans. So without further ado, I am kind of on a time limit here, so let's dive right into Saw, the game. The first Saw game was released on October 6th, 2009 for Windows, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. It follows first movie character David Tapp as he finds himself right in the middle of the action that he has been fighting to end. Weird that he's the main character of the game considering, oh right, spoilers for everything Saw. Yeah, bro got shot and seemingly killed in the first movie. So I just find it really odd that they made him the main character and not another alive character, or a completely made up one just for the game. But enough fantasizing, let's talk about the actual game itself. So like I said, it follows Detective Tapp as our main character as he's been recovered from his wound by Jigsaw, or maybe Jigsaw's doctor accomplice.
I'm a doctor.
As he goes through the longest and most elaborate series of traps Jigsaw has ever set up. You walk around this abandoned insane asylum trying to rescue every little minute character that isn't trying to kill your ass for a key that's supposedly implanted in your stomach. Now, why is Tapp put into such a huge trap? Because he wants to arrest a mass murderer. Now, it does go deeper into the fact that he basically caused his partner's death, but that was his fault just as much as it was Tapp's. Back to the beginning of the game, we start off being wheeled down a hallway as we get a bunch of quick flashes forward to our upcoming game. I'll come back to this later when we get to the game's ending. After the flashes, we wake up in a very familiar yet completely different place. This looks like the bathroom from Saw 1, but this isn't the bathroom from Saw 1. I guess all bathrooms Jigsaw touches turns into that. So we wake up in the rip-off bathroom with a rip-off reverse bear trap on our face. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about the design of this classic trap that just throws me off. I think it's the mouthpiece? A TV turns on and we are greeted with everyone's favorite horror puppet, besides maybe Chucky. He tells us how wrong we are for wanting to stop someone from murdering people. Oh, what's that? Jigsaw isn't a murderer? Well, I never said anything about Jigsaw. Who said I was talking about him? After we get out of the trap, Tapp makes a promise to Jigsaw.
I won't play your game. I won't!
He proceeds to spend the next 7 to 8 hours playing Jigsaw's game. After we solve the puzzle to get out of the bathroom, we are guided by Jigsaw all the way to our first victim to save. And it's one you might know. We have to save Amanda from this weird ass needle trap that we have to do this puzzle to get out of. It doesn't really make any sense in my opinion. Also, I did want to just go ahead and make a tier list of all the main traps in these games. I still will, but at least for this first game, all of the traps are in my least favorite category of Saw trap. The ones where someone has to save somebody else. This type of trap really sucks in this game because we always get tapes for the victims as to why they should appreciate life more or whatever, but they never have to do any work to save their life. That's like Jigsaw's whole MO. So really the game goes like this. You save a guy from a big trap, you find the door to the next big trap, you figure out how to get through the door, you save a guy from a big trap. It gets really repetitive after like 3 victim saves. Luckily, I played this game so you don't have to. Now I could just give you all the details I feel like. Also, Amanda's trap gets like a D. It's just a machine that gives you a little prick if you can't solve an elementary school tier puzzle. After you get Amanda out, she follows you around and blocks you in doorways for like 2 minutes before she gets pigged. And then you get your next objective. Find and save Jennings Foster, an apparent former partner or colleague who hit and killed a homeless person with his car and framed some innocent guy for it. So you find him eventually in a trap that we've kind of seen before. It's the pendulum trap from Saw 5, except it's gonna cut you in half lengthwise instead of across the waist. Also, it relies on another person saving you once again, rather than you crushing your hands to stop the trap. You save Jennings by solving some of these gear puzzles. B tier trap. I don't even know why I'm ranking these, they aren't even that interesting. Then after 2 minutes of following you around, he dips out and leaves you behind. See a pattern yet? Our next victim, after about an hour of walking around, killing random people and finding clues, is the wife of your former partner, Melissa, who is in a trap because she blames Tap for the death of her husband. She is trapped in an Iron Maiden type trap that will close in on her if Tap doesn't complete some of these maze puzzles. I'll give that one an A tier, just because I gotta give something a higher tier, I don't know. After you save her, she curses you and leaves you behind after about another 2 minutes. This is when I stopped playing my first day. This game gets extremely repetitive extremely quickly. Back to it, and our next victim is Oswald McGillicuddy, a newspaper reporter who destroyed Tap's reputation with law enforcement after his partner's death. Obviously there is a theme starting with all the trap victims, but I don't recall Jigsaw talking about how Tap needs to forgive these guys, which would seem like the reason he'd be saving them in the first place. Like why slow-ass motherfucking Jeff is trying to save people that have wronged him in Saw 3. But I don't think that's present in this game. So there's really no reason that Tap is actually saving these people that have kind of destroyed his life and have inadvertently sent him down this crazed rabbit hole that got him here. But whatever. Tap saves Oswald by doing some more puzzles. This time it's like these circuit mazes. If he didn't save him, Oswald would have snapped like a twig. Kinda like the rack from Saw 3. B tier. It's whatever, honestly. I do kinda like the circuit puzzles though. After another 2 minutes of Oswald following you around, he actually doesn't leave your side. He just wanders into a tripwire and gets his brains blown out. Yeah, there's a ton of these tripwire traps all around the game, which makes me raise the question as to what Jigsaw's plan would have been if Tap just wandered into one of these without even reaching his first victim. Like, dude, don't you want him to save these people? Stop trying to kill him around every corner until he's saved at least 2 dudes. After another hour of wandering around avoiding traps and solving puzzles, we find our next guy, Abby, which you might recognize from Saw 2, which I guess completely throws this game being canon out the window, since Abby in this game acts nothing like Abby in Saw 2. I would know. Me and the guys are rewatching Saw right now, and we just watched Saw 2 yesterday as of writing this. Anyway, Abby's in a trap. Not because he's related to Tap's lore, he just really wanted to be put in a trap, so Jigsaw is teaching him why he shouldn't want that. This is perhaps the stupidest reason they could have possibly given for anyone being in a trap. But enough about that, he's back in an oven, just like old times. Tap does these pipe puzzles to save him, and we're out of here onto our last trap victim. Only after Abby leaves after 2 minutes, of course. D tier, just a reused trap, and kind of a shit reason for being in it. Our last victim is another one from the movies, and I didn't even realize until like halfway through saving the man. This is Jeff. No, not slow-ass motherfucking Jeff. This Jeff is from Saw 1. He's back in a trap just because Tap and Sing saved him from his last one, or maybe because he attempted game over after Tap kept harassing him for details about that day. Jeff is going to be stabbed with a bunch of spikes, kinda like the Saw 4 trap, only if Tap doesn't solve a memory game fast enough. That's really about it. C tier just because the puzzle of this trap isn't a puzzle that we've been solving for the past 7 hours. After the 2-minute abandonment, we finally start the last level of the game, which mainly consists of, get this, a boss fight with a pighead accomplice. You heard that right. The Saw game got a boss fight. Now hopefully we can get Saw Souls 3. After we zap the pig to death, we don't even reveal who it was for a decent Saw twist. We just retrieve a key and head to the final stretch of the game. This gauntlet of puzzles to get the final key to the ending. When we get the key, we get a choice, and this determines what ending we get. We can pick Freedom, which ends with us freeing everyone from the asylum, but Tap gets mad depressed and commits game over. Or we can pick Truth, where we get some more gameplay as we chase down Jigsaw, who is then revealed to be Melissa Singh with her lips sewn shut. She had another game to do after she learned that Jigsaw had her son captive. She wanders into a tripwire and dies. Great. After that bombshell reveal, we see Tap go completely nuts and find himself in a non-abandoned mental hospital that looks exactly like the one from the beginning of the game, which leads me to my game theory. This was all a dream, and Tap went crazy after being shot and rescued by Jigsaw. Or maybe he just game overed himself in his apartment. Who knows? It really doesn't matter, since I really only care about the movie's batshit insane plot and not the games. Alright, now let's quickly talk about the gameplay and shit like that. Number 1, the score kinda blows. It's just a bunch of stock sounding horror game music. No iconic Saw theme pisses me off to no end. Also, I think they programmed the music wrong, because the fighting themes would always play like 30 seconds after I already fought a dude. So, I don't really know. Speaking of fighting, the combat system sucks. You can find weapons on the ground all over the place that you can use to fight other insane people you find, but swinging weapons is so extremely slow you might as well just use your fists, because that basically just stuns them forever and you can just beat them to death. Also, I just want to reiterate that the booby traps found around the game make no sense at all. Really, the only time we see booby traps used by Jigsaw is when he's in his own workshop, like Sing's Death Trap and the Shin Smasher 9000. And when you're taking 2 steps at a time just looking at the floor hoping not to step on a tripwire, it kind of slows down the already slow as hell pacing. The last thing I'll mention is the controls. They get really finicky, especially inside the puzzles. Also, I think the FOV used is way too close to the player, and it's just that close to try to make you feel claustrophobic, which didn't even work for me. Overall, I think the first Saw game is an incredibly mediocre game that I'm still glad I played just one time, but I highly doubt I'll be back to revisit it anytime soon. Which sucks because this game was more expensive than I'd like it to be. If only they still sold this game on Steam and didn't delist it for some reason. For gameplay, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Controls, 5 out of 10. Music, 3 out of 10, story 6 out of 10, and overall I think I'll just give it a light 6 out of 10, since I enjoyed it about 60% of the time, so that just makes sense to me. Now on to Saw 2, not to be confused with Saw 2. Saw 2 Flesh and Blood is one of the worst video games I've ever played. That's not a joke. This game is an actual dumpster fire that fails to do just about everything a Saw game could do. Let's take it to the beginning of the game. We wake up in a confused state with a trap on our head. Who would have thought? But this time, this is a character we know nothing about, and never will. Stay tuned. He's got a Venus flytrap from the good Saw 2 on his head, and we mash some buttons to remove the key from his eye and unlock the trap. After some mediocre puzzles, we get to my absolute favorite part of the game. These bullshit motherfuckers. All they do is wear these spike suits on themselves and charge at you like a bull. Your goal every time they show up, which is a lot, is to lead them down an elevator shaft, or through a wall, whatever. Also, if you get hit once by these assholes, you will most likely be stun locked just into dying. After another few puzzles, including this variation of the circuit mazes from the last game, which they decided to make 10 times harder for some reason, we reach probably the most interesting part of the game. We wander into a room with a balance beam, and we are told that we can fight for survival or sacrifice ourselves to save a random person that is doing the same trap above you. I was curious to see what would happen if I died here, and yeah, that's literally the end of this guy. We now play as Detective Tap's never-seen-before reporter's son, Michael. And where are we? Why, Detective Tap's apartment, of course. And by the things we are told, we find out that Tap game-overing himself is the canon ending to the first game. Which, I think I hate that ending even more now, knowing that it's part of this game's plot. Anyway, you can guess what happens next. Oh my god, look, it's a pig mask. Oh my god, look, we're in the game. We wake up in a competition trap that we fail, but I guess we got plot armor, so we get to live and escape to wander around looking for our first big trap victim, because God forbid they do something different than the first game. Okay, quick disclaimer going forward, I don't give 2 damn shits about this game, and I'm just talking about it to be done with this damn thing. So number 1, I'm not going to go in depth to any real plot, mainly because it makes no fucking sense, and I didn't care one bit about it while playing. And number 2, I'm dropping the tier list. Most of these traps suck total ass, so they'd just be Fs anyway. Also, there's a lot of trap set pieces, so it's kind of hard picking which ones are the main ones and which ones aren't, so a lot would be left behind. So, Son of Tap walks into this room with a guy in a reused trap once again from the good Saw 2. We gotta find the combination for this lock, and it's just written behind this box, which makes no goddamn sense. Then when he's free, he gets dragged away by a pig. Then we find a next trap with this cop. Turn off the lights to stop the gun. Then when he's free, he just kinda leaves. Then we come across a random woman, who we solve a puzzle to save from drowning. Then she just kinda leaves. Then we come across another cop guy. and we save him from this hydraulic press trap by solving these light puzzles. This one was really annoying because you'd think you'd have to turn off all these lights to stop the trap, but you actually have to turn them all on. Whatever, the trap is stopped and the guy runs away. Before we get to our next victim, we run into a familiar face. Familiar maybe if you were actually enjoying this game and not just playing it to save your life. This is the guy who we saved from the razor box trap earlier. Now he's got blades fixed to his hands, which we would later see in a way better piece of Saw media, Saw X. He's back and he wants vengeance for some reason, even though we literally saved his life. But he chases us down this hallway in a series of quick time events, which this game loves a lot for some reason. Even with the combat, it's all just quick time events, which really sucks for a guy whose main controller choice isn't PlayStation, so I really don't know the button layout like the back of my hand. But even if I did, there seems to be a delay, especially in these dodge events where you gotta hit a button in a designated spot. Now I've played plenty of Dead by Daylight in the day, so I got my timing down, so it's just really frustrating when the game just doesn't register that. Oh yeah, I guess Saw is in Dead by Daylight also, so that kind of counts as a Saw game. 7.5 out of 10. Only fun with friends. So we make it to our next big trap, and we gotta save this doctor from being ripped in half by a dropping elevator. To do this, we gotta solve this numbers puzzle that took me a while because I don't do math no goods. But of course after that she just runs away. Oh wait, no, I actually spoke too soon. She actually does help you traverse the next area for about a minute. Then she runs away. Before we come across our last dude, we run back into Knifey Hands, who takes us down this long-ass QuickTime event sequence, which I had to have been stuck in for at least a half an hour. But after we run him into his death, we find our last trap victim. This is another guy involved in some big conspiracy that they've been trying to build up throughout the game, and it just makes no sense. Like, apparently the two cop guys have been running drugs out of police evidence or something, and all these guys are involved somehow. I don't know. So we gotta save the cop's accountant from burning alive by moving him through these rooms and doing puzzles while moving them around the fires. This was more annoying than it was difficult, but the dude's alive, and now we can move into the final stretch of the game, which starts with a damn shootout in a subway with one of the cops. Then we have a tussle with the last of these asshole spike suits. Walk around this janky ass carousel avoiding these spotlights that even if you get close to, you die. Then we finally make it to a showdown QuickTime event with the main bad cop, who we turn his own gun on. Very anticlimactic. After all that, we get a little deja vu as we wander into a room with two walls closing in, where we have to cross a balance beam to safety. We are told our life lies in the hands of a complete stranger who may sacrifice himself to let us live. That stranger, of course, is the dude we played as in the beginning, and us dying as him allows Tap to continue on to his ending, which just ends with Tap being given a choice to leave or become an apprentice. It's just really fun seeing a horrible game teasing a possible sequel, knowing that's never gonna happen. Also, yeah, I know there's another ending that happens if you make the beginning guy live and Tap dies, but you couldn't give me $10 million to play through this game again. Okay, that's a lie. 10 million is a lot of money. But now that I'm through the game, let's talk about it as fast as possible so I can be done with this pile of dog shit. Okay, let's see. The score, once again, fucking sucks, but it's even worse this time, even though they include the Saw theme song in this one, but it only appears in the main menu and the end credits. The score this time feels like it's the same 2-second snippet of music used over and over and over and over and over and over again. There was a real point during this playthrough that I wanted to stop making this video just because of the shitty music. It was that hard to listen to. Yeah, the combat system sucks. I already talked about that. There weren't as many booby traps around this game, so that actually kind of worked to its advantage. But the door traps this time around, you have to hit 2 buttons instead of 1. I don't know why on earth they would change that, but who really cares? Also, every time you avoid one of these traps, you have to sit through this stupid cutscene of Tap looking surprised the door is rigged. It gets so damn annoying after a while. The game controlled about the same as the last one, so still not very good, and the story, as you've heard me talk about before, completely sucks and makes not one lick of sense. So, to wrap it up, the story sucks, the graphics suck, the music sucks, the controls suck, the traps suck, the puzzles suck, just about anything you can think of sucks. Alright, overall scores. Gameplay gets a 4 out of 10, controls stay at a 5, music gets a 2 out of 10, story earns a 3 out of 10, and overall, this big pile of horse shit gets a 3.5 out of 10. What a fantastic game that I will very much play again someday. Now, I kind of feel bad for talking so much shit about something Saw related, so let me hit you with some extra rankings for all of Saw. Now, just a reminder, I give ratings based on enjoyment, so don't think I mean that the Saw movies are equivalent to cinematic masterpieces like Oppenheimer, 12 Angry Men, Cars 2, all that stuff. So, the original Saw gets an 8.5 out of 10. Great start to the series, fantastic twist, and a wonderful amount of campy plot. Saw 2 gets a 9 out of 10. A very good follow-up to the first movie, expands on Jigsaw as a character, gives us our first accomplice, and also some of the best traps in the series. Saw 3 gets a 7.8 out of 10. Not as good as the first two in my opinion, but it still brings more to the table in terms of character development, and horribly brutal traps. Saw 4 falls off a little bit in my opinion, so it gets a 6.5 out of 10, but it does give us the beginning of future plot points that will be further explored in the upcoming movies. Saw 5 I think is underrated, but it's not one of my favorites. I just don't think it's one of the worst like most people do. 7 out of 10. It's got the funny goose chase between Hoffman and Strom. Saw 6 is a fan favorite, and I like it too. It has a great trap plot with Roderick Heffley killing a man at the end, and probably the best cop plot in any of the movies, with the FBI definitely knowing that Hoffman is the new accomplice, but they can't prove it till the end, when the Hoffmanator gets unleashed. 8.7 out of 10. Saw 7, also known as Saw 3D, or Saw the Final Chapter, is one of the most hated movies in the franchise, but I think it's fun and cheesy as hell. The trap plot is interesting, although poorly executed, and Hoffman is one specimen of a man. We also get Lawrence Gordon back, and he's a doctor.
I'm a doctor.
7 out of 10. Things start getting a little tricky with Jigsaw, the legacy sequel slash prequel that tries so hard but doesn't get far, with its messy cop plot and boring trap plot. The whole twist of this movie doesn't work at all for me, and it just gives us another apprentice which we've never seen before, but he's somehow been here the whole time. 5 out of 10. Up next is Spiral, which I remember liking when I saw it in theaters, but rewatching it a year or so ago, I don't know what I was thinking, cause it's not very good. I still think it's better than Jigsaw, but not by much, and thank God this plot was left behind. 5.5 out of 10. Our next and final entry takes us back to the roots in Saw X, or Saw 1.5 since it takes place between Saw 1 and 2. It's really just a great movie in general, and it's probably my favorite in the series. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. 9.5 out of 10. Now, with these rankings said, I'd still probably watch one of the worst Saw movies instead of playing any of the games again. At least it's only 2 hours of mediocre Saw, and not 7 to 8 hours of it. And with that, I'm done with these games. It's time to go tell that puppet. Hey idiot, I did it. Both of the games and the video are done. Wait, you were serious about the deadline?
Very serious. You may have done what I asked, but you took too long to do it. Now I have no choice but to leave you in your chair to rot.
But what about the poison?
Do you know how hard it is to get poison that takes weeks to kill a man? I can't afford that.
So what, I'm just gonna starve?
Those are the rules. Game over.
God, starving takes so long. What am I gonna do to pass the time? Ooh.
I'm a doctor.